Jerry Yin has always been known as a man of mystery, reserved, cautious, and someone who rarely lets the public peek into his most vulnerable moments. But this time, everything was different. With Tong Liya by his side, Jerry wasn't just a global superstar, a beloved actor, or an idol remembered by millions. He was simply a father, a man overcome with raw emotion as he held his child for the very first time. And what unfolded in that intimate, unforgettable moment is something that has forever changed Jerry Yan's life, Tong Liya's journey, and the way fans around the world see them as a couple. The story begins in the quiet of a hospital room. Away from the cameras, away from the flashing lights, Jerry Yin cradled his newborn in his arms, unable to stop the tears streaming down his face. Fans who have followed his career for decades know how rare it is to see Jerry cry in public. He has always been strong, protective, and somewhat guarded. But in that moment, holding a tiny life so fragile, Jerry broke down. Tong Liya, sitting just inches away, reached out and placed her hand on his shoulder, her eyes filled with love and reassurance. She wasn't just a wife watching her husband transform into a father. She was witnessing a new side of Jerry Yin, one she had always believed existed deep within him. This emotional moment wasn't just about Jerry Yin holding his child. It was about everything that led up to it, the years of sacrifice, the struggles both he and Tong Liya endured, and the choices that brought them here. For years, Jerry was labeled as the eternal bachelor, someone who could never quite settle down. Tong Liya, too, faced her own challenges, her past heartbreaks, her demanding career, and her constant balancing act between fame and personal life. But together, they rewrote their narrative. They didn't just fall in love, they built a foundation strong enough to welcome this new chapter, Parenthood. What makes this story even more powerful is how Jerry himself described the experience. According to those close to him, he whispered words to his newborn that left even the nurses in tears. He said, "You are my miracle. You are the reason I will be a better man." For someone like Jerry, who has spent most of his life trying to protect himself from pain, opening his heart so completely to his child showed just how much he has grown. And Tong Liya, hearing those words, knew that their family had truly begun in the most beautiful way. Fans, of course, have been overwhelmed by this revelation. Pictures and accounts of Jerry holding his baby with tears streaming down his face quickly spread online, sparking thousands of comments. Many fans wrote things like, "This is the Jerry Yin we've waited to see for years, real, vulnerable, and happy." Others praised Tong Liya, saying she gave him the family he always longed for but never admitted. Together, their story has touched millions, proving that even the biggest stars long for the simplest joys, love, family, and belonging. But beyond the joy, there's a deeper layer to this story. Jerry Yan's relationship with family has always been complicated. Raised in a modest household, Jerry lost his father early and often spoke about the weight of responsibility he felt toward his mother and sister. For years, he buried himself in work, fame, and music, rarely allowing himself the space to heal. Now, holding his child, Jerry finally feels a piece of that missing puzzle being restored. It's as though the circle of family he once lost has been given back to him, this time in the form of a new beginning with Tong Liya. Tong Liya, too, has found healing in this moment. After enduring heartbreak and public scrutiny, she has been reborn in her own way. Watching Jerry cry as he held their baby, she realized that their struggles had not been in vain. She had chosen a man who, despite his fame's temptations, and the shadows of his past, had chosen to give his heart entirely to her and their child. For Tong Liya, this was not just a new chapter, it was her triumph. Of course, fans are now wondering, what does this mean for Jerry Yin and Tong Liya's future? Sources close to the couple reveal that Jerry has vowed to step back from some of his upcoming projects to focus on fatherhood. "I don't want to miss a single moment," Jerry reportedly said. And knowing his reputation for being deeply committed once he makes a promise, fans believe him. Tong Liya, on the other hand, is said to be considering projects that allow her to balance motherhood with her career, roles that speak more deeply to her as an artist and as a mother. Together, they are not only redefining their lives but also challenging the expectations placed on celebrity couples. In an industry where relationships often crumble under pressure, Jerry and Tong Liya are proving that love, trust, and family can survive, even in the spotlight. As the days go by, fans continue to celebrate this new chapter in Jerry Yin and Tong Liya's journey. Social media is filled with edits, fan art, and heartfelt messages. Some fans say that Jerry holding his child reminded them of scenes from his dramas, where he often played the role of the protective lover or the strong hero. But this time, it wasn't acting. It was real. It was Jerry Yin, the Mun, not the star, embracing his most important role yet, father. In many ways, this moment marks the start of Jerry's most meaningful performance, not on screen, but in life. Every smile he shares with his child, every late-night feeding, every small hand he holds, will become memories far more precious than any award or box office hit. And Tong Liya, standing beside him, will be the partner who shares both the struggles and the joy of raising a family. So yes, Jerry Yin cried. He cried because life had finally given him the one thing he didn't know he was missing. He cried because Tong Liya believed in him, stood by him, and gave him the gift of fatherhood. He cried because, in that moment, the boy who once lost his father had become a father himself. And for Jerry Yin, there could be no greater role. As fans look ahead, they know this is only the beginning. Jerry Yin and Tong Liya have shown the world that love is not just about romance, it's about resilience, healing, and the courage to start again. And now, with their child in their arms, they are writing the most beautiful chapter of all. This is their story. Jerry Yin, Tong Liya, and the child who brought them to tears and to hope. As Jerry Yin held his newborn, those who know him personally said they had never seen him so raw, so completely unguarded. For decades, Jerry carried the image of a superstar who always had everything under control. He was the leading Mun in dramas, the dream idol of millions, the symbol of elegance and cool charm. Yet, here he was, eyes red, voice trembling, heart bursting wide open. For the first time, Jerry Yin wasn't acting. He wasn't rehearsing lines or posing for cameras. He was simply being a father. Tong Liya, too, couldn't contain her emotions. Those who were present describe her as watching Jerry with quiet awe. She saw the man she fell in love with transform before her eyes. Someone who had always been careful with emotions was suddenly overflowing with them. And perhaps, in that moment, Tong Liya understood more than ever why their paths had crossed. It wasn't just fate. It wasn't just love. It was destiny shaping them into a family. The days after the baby's birth brought a new rhythm into their lives. Jerry, who used to have schedules filled with back-to-back meetings, rehearsals, and filming commitments, suddenly found joy in the smallest of things, learning how to change diapers, rocking his baby to sleep, and whispering lullabies in the quiet of the night. For a man who once admitted that he didn't know if family life was meant for him, Jerry surprised even himself with how naturally he embraced fatherhood. Tong Liya has been his anchor through it all. She reminds him that mistakes are part of the journey, that no parent is perfect, and that love is the most important thing they can give their child. For Jerry, who sometimes doubts himself, her words are a lifeline. He once told a close friend that Tong Liya doesn't just make him a better husband, she makes him a better father, a better man, and a better soul. Their baby has also become a symbol of healing, not just for Jerry and Tong Liya, but also for their families. Jerry's mother, who has always been a quiet presence in his life, was seen smiling with tears in her eyes as she held her grandchild. For her, watching Jerry step into the role of father brought back memories of the little boy she once raised on her own after his father's passing. It was as if life had come full circle. For Tong Liya's parents, who had worried about her happiness after past struggles, seeing her radiant and fulfilled as a mother reassured them that she had finally found her true home with Jerry. But as much as this is a story of joy, it's also a story of resilience. Parenthood, especially under the public eye, comes with its own challenges. The world is watching Jerry and Tong Liya, analyzing their every move, speculating about their next step. But instead of being consumed by the pressure, the couple has chosen to focus on what matters most, their baby. They've learned to create a private world away from the constant noise of fame, where they can simply be themselves. Fans have noticed this shift in Jerry too. Some say his entire demeanor has changed. He smiles more easily now. He laughs without hesitation. Even in rare public appearances, there's a warmth about him that wasn't always there before. It's the unmistakable glow of fatherhood, a glow that Tong Liya mirrors in her own quiet, graceful way. Together, They radiate something stronger than just star power. They radiate love, and fans feel it deeply. This new chapter has also sparked questions about their careers. Will Jerry step away from the spotlight? Will Tong Liya continue acting, or will she take a break? The truth is, neither has given a definitive answer. What is clear, however, is that their priorities have shifted. Fame and projects will always be there, but their child's first smile, first words, first steps, those are moments they can never get back. And for Jerry and Tong Liya, missing those moments is simply not an option. For fans who grew up watching Jerry Yin in Meteor Garden and followed Tong Liya through her brilliant career, this journey feels like the most inspiring drama of all, but it's real. It's unscripted. And it's proof that even stars who seem untouchable have the same dreams, the same struggles, and the same joys as everyone else. What makes this story even more moving is the way Jerry and Tong Liya support each other. Late at night, when the baby cries, Jerry is the first to get up, wanting to give Tong Liya rest. During the day, when Jerry worries if he's doing enough, Tong Liya reassures him that love is more important than perfection. Their teamwork, their gentle care for one another, and their willingness to grow together as parents are what make their love story so inspiring. And so, Jerry Yan's heartfelt tears holding his child weren't just about one moment in a hospital room. They were about everything that came before: his struggles, his fears, his lost years, and everything that lies ahead. The promise of a new life, a stronger bond with Tong Liya, and a future filled with love. This is the Jerry Yin fans never thought they'd see. The man who has conquered fame, but more importantly, the man who has conquered his own fears and allowed himself to love without reservation. And with Tong Liya by his side, that love is only growing stronger. Their journey is just beginning, but already, it's a story that millions will remember, the day Jerry Yin cried not because of loss, but because life had finally given him everything he had been searching for.